The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey guys, thank you for joining today's session. It's good to see everybody again. As always, this session will be recorded, and the support team is working on short videos that you can find on our YouTube channel. So look out for those. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the end user portal. I know some of us don't really use it, but I'm going to show you some of the features that it has so that you can utilize it. Okay, so before I get started, it is a separate portal than what the team will use. So it has its own login, and it could be integrated with Active Directory so that you can do single sign-in. Right now, I'm not integrated with any AD, so I would have to put in a user or log in as one of my sample users here. The other thing about this portal too is you can actually take the HTML snippet out of this so that you can use your own front end. So you can integrate this with your website and things like that so that you don't necessarily have to use, the one that's provided, out of the box. Although you could use that and it could be configured for your look and feel, but you can totally integrate this into, another website if you wanted to. The other thing about this is that I know we had some questions regarding languages too. So it does support multiple languages. Uh, we provide language packs that you can install, and depending on the region the users are in, this could potentially automatically switch over to that language. So I'll give you more details about that later on, but it is possible. The other thing too is if you notice, I've actually enabled our knowledge search outside of login. So I find this kind of useful so that, users can actually do some self-service and look for, resolutions before submitting a ticket. So I actually enable this outside of the login, and you can, just type in a keyword and it'll pull in, any knowledge articles that are related to that keyword. And so we found an article here, and just to show you real quick how that looks like is something like this. So our knowledge articles can be in HTML. Okay, so I included some screenshots and things like that, and your users can provide comments and rankings and whatnot. And I'll show you this in a little bit what this means right here. But yeah, that's how you would be able to do a knowledge search prior to logging in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as a different user. Okay, so right here, I'm going to log in as NAH. And so right here in the home page, what you're going to see is a dashboard for your users. So they're able to, see announcements. So I got a couple of different announcements here, and you can create as many different widgets or sections, if you will, and that's done in the admin. And to categorize, multiple announcements together inside like this widget, for example. So this only has one announcement, but you could potentially put multiple in there. Okay, so you can create as many of these as you want. You can kind of move it around, and just to make it look better or whatever makes sense. This guy right here, submit new requests, allows your users to actually submit tickets, right? So I got a couple of different ones here. As a matter of fact, you could potentially submit into different projects. So right here would be for my, help desk. Right here maybe for change management, and so on and so forth. So you can actually, open this up for multiple projects if you wanted to. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to show you is something like this right here. So these are actually done by the incident templates. So if I flip over to the team side of things, all I have to do is go to settings. And once I go there, I'm able to use our ticket templates right here. So I'm going to go into the account password request right here, and you can kind of see it's used by our requesters or our end users. So you can specify that. So you can say it's going to be used for the team, or it's going to be used by my end users. Okay, so that's how these appear. And so these templates, what they do is they pre-populate a lot of this data entering, right? So that your end users won't be discouraged, right? So when they're clicking on, account password requests, most of the stuff is already filled out. As a matter of fact, it helps you better classify tickets as well because they don't really need to choose anything. They just need to simply hit submit, and that's it. Okay, so those are what these templates are for. Okay, to kind of pre-populate that data and whatnot. And there's another thing about these too is the applicable users. So some of these requests, you can hide them from different user types. So these are all my different types of users. But I could potentially say, well, this request can only be, for certain groups and whatnot. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here in the EWP. So as a best practice, you would want to, create as many specific service requests as possible. You can actually, put in a description there to help guide your users and whatnot on what this ticket is for. Okay. Now, again, we could do a knowledge search, prior to submitting a ticket. So these are manual searchings, but I'm going to show you how we can do this automatically. So I'm going to do a trouble ticket here, and I'm going to go ahead and say, something like email not working. Okay, so I'm typing in some information here. I'm filling out this data, and I'm selecting, a category, my parent category, and then maybe my child values. Right here, I have, again, my priority matrix. The priority field's not there, because I would imagine most of our users, would always indicate that their tickets are high priority. So we're just going to use a better matrix to gauge that priority. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and hit submit here. And you'll notice that what it actually did was it actually pulled up a couple different articles that may help your users um, with this particular issue. Okay, so that's the knowledge auto recommendation feature that we have that I don't think many of us actually know what that is. So right here, two articles came out. So if I look at it again, there's assuming that there's some content there, it would be displayed. But that's what these comments and rankings are for. Okay, so the rankings allow your users to kind of rank, how useful or how helpful these knowledge articles are. And the higher the ranking, then the first or the more they would appear in this list, right? So it basically the high rank articles really appear first and whatnot. So that's the knowledge auto recommendation. So the way you would have to do that, first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the backend. So I'm actually on the server here. It's actually a service that you install. So just contact our support team, and they'll help set this up or provide this component to you. But it is just a different service that's running on the background, and it provides indexing and whatnot. But that's how you would actually get this feature enabled. Okay, then there's a couple settings that you would have to configure in the admin, and I won't go through that for now. So the other benefit to using this right here, to using that search engine, not only is it going to do the auto recommendation, but it enables something called global search. So global search is something that allows you to search against everything. So if I click on this icon right here, and I type in the word email, it's actually going to pull up all of the different tickets that have that keyword email in it, and it will actually look through all of the different projects that you have. So when you use the regular search in the list view here, and you're doing a search, you're only looking for tickets that are within that particular project. But when you do the global search, you are actually searching against all of your projects, and that could be actually defined. So you can say, well, I don't want to search any of these guys, but maybe inside change management. Okay, so that global search allows us to do that. The other thing that it does for you is that it's actually full indexing. So it could, if you notice, it could actually search for keywords inside attachments as well. So that's an extremely useful feature in my opinion. So it can search against all the different tickets, maybe even your customers, all of the different knowledge articles, events, and whatnot. And so yeah, so that's the global search. It searches against pretty much everything that's in the system. So I'm kind of going outside of the employee web portal, but I just wanted to show you that by enabling, this, search engine, you not only get this knowledge auto search, but you have a couple additional functionality within help desk as well. Okay, so on the home page, these different ticket types, it can use that auto recommendation feature. But I'm going to show you how to do these announcements too. So everything pretty much that you see in here, all the announcements, they're actually um, inside our knowledge base as well. So if I come in here and I go into knowledge, this is how the knowledge internal knowledge structure looks like. So over on the left-hand side, you're going to have a way to categorize your different knowledge articles, and they're permission-based. Okay, so I can right-click on them, and I can say edit this folder, and I can say who can actually view things that are in here. Whether they're from the team, whether they're your end users, but you can define who can actually see these knowledge articles. Okay. Now announcements are a little bit different. They have their own folder. So under announcement right here, you would create them here. So I would have, our email outage warning, for example, and that's this guy right here, right? So you would actually create this announcement, or it's, under announcement right here, or just click into the knowledge article rather. You put in the information there, so you have your title, your description, and whatnot, and then you would go into your announcements right here, and you would actually say where it's going to appear, right? So right here, I'm saying post this to the employee web portal or the end user web portal, and then which widget. So if you recall, there's different widgets. This guy right here, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So you would actually indicate which group you want to place these announcements into. And again, they have HTML in them and whatnot. Okay, so that's basically the knowledge base. So it's the self-service portion depends a lot, on this knowledge base. Lastly, we can go into the actual tickets. So inside the tickets here, users are able to see all of the tickets that they submitted in the past. All right, so Anna submitted all these different types of tickets, and you can actually filter by open or close, right? So the close I think is kind of useful here. That allows me to find all past tickets that are resolved, and that can allow you to kind of find a resolution to a problem that you had before, right? So if they forget what the resolution was, they can look for that on these closed tickets. Okay. Now one other thing too that you can enable here as well too is something called power users. So if you notice my requester here, not only is Anna able to see her own tickets, but if she was a power user, if you will, she's able to see tickets that are within all these different regions that you can set up. Okay, so I got a bunch of different regions here, but she's upper level, so she can see any tickets that are from any region. So this can also be set up for the end users. Okay, and then lastly, we have our requesters. So this is just some basic information, just her information. And she is able to set up her password here as well. Okay, and I have my asset management piece, which I'm gonna do another session on in AssetWise. But basically, you can kind of see these are the assets that she currently is using, is using. Okay, so you have that. Now, with the knowledge base, you also have the ability to send out announcements. So that's how I send out announcements to you guys on these sessions. So we're using our knowledge base right here, and we're doing a mass email here. So I can do a new email here. Let's say I have another session upcoming session. I can create that, and then I can say I can select who I want to send this to. Okay, so I can do a query and send this information out by email. Okay, so not only can I post it on the employee web portal, but I'm able to send out emails. And that feature right there that you just saw, basically allows the users to unsubscribe to those emails. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Lastly, the reporting. I don't imagine our end users to do too much here, but basically, if they wanted to get a list of all issues that you can export or print out, this will be the place to be. So incident list, there's not too many reports there. Okay, so we're going to keep this session short. I'm going to go to questions now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them, and I'll try to address them. Again, you can reach out to me. We could do one-on-one sessions to help you configure this, or you can reach out to the support team to do so too. Keeping this one short. The next session, we're going to be talking, a little bit more about how you can, prioritize your tickets, some of the best practices there, including SLAs and whatnot. Okay, so that's all for this session. I don't see any questions. This is recorded, so we'll send this out to you. And thank you for attending. A couple things I wanted to add to the webinar that I forgot to mention were how the team or the end users are able to communicate to the team. So in this view, we have our list of tickets, but if I click into it, I'm able to actually write a note in here. So this is the web conversation piece inside ServiceWise. So we're able to go ahead and talk to the team by entering some data here in this field. So I'm going to say, hey, can you please call me at this number instead, or something like this. Since we're able to see their number, but they want us to call them at a different number, we can also do attachments if we wanted to, but I could go ahead and submit that. And then from the team side, if we go to 1734, I have my conversations right here, and I'm able to see that message, and I could do a reply there. Okay, so that's something we can do. Now, along with the knowledge base, we could potentially, either send our, reply back to them. We can send them emails, but we could also send them knowledge articles that we think, may be able to help them resolve this issue. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And then lastly, let's say this ticket is resolved. They come back into the portal. They come into this ticket. They're able to just go ahead and say, mark this ticket as resolved, and it will automatically close out that ticket. Okay, so that the team doesn't really necessarily have to go close these tickets, but hopefully the end users, think the resolution is good enough, and they can go ahead and just close that. Now, once a ticket is closed, or a resolution is provided, we do have a way of publishing this out to the knowledge base. So if I hit save as knowledge here, it will actually create a new knowledge article in wherever you want to place that knowledge article in. And then some of these fields, automatically get mapped over. So if we created a resolution field and we map it to like the knowledge description, then this automatically becomes a knowledge article that can be used in the future.